Welcome to this important video on how to create competitive or differential advantages for any company, something that is needed to help stand out in the market, especially in this overcrowded market. This topic is a part of marketing strategy. Make sure to stick to the end of the video because especially at the end of the video, I will be presenting you with a summary of key areas to consider for competitive advantage and giving you lots of examples to digest. So let's get started. But before we get started, let's consider for a moment, why should we differentiate? Well, each company must differentiate itself. There are so many competitors in each area. In many cases, two or more companies will go after the same position. Then each will have to find other ways to set itself apart. Each company must differentiate its offer by binding a unique bundle of benefits that will appeal to the target market. Marketeers must understand customer needs, wants, desires better than competitors do and deliver more customer value. To the extent that a company can differentiate and position itself as providing superior customer value, it gains competitive advantage. Competitive advantage is an advantage over competitors gained by offering greater customer value, either by providing more benefits to justify higher prices or simply lowering the prices, and you will find that there are quite a few companies in that area. However, solid positions won't be built on empty promises. It must deliver the promised quality and service. Companies must do much more than simply shout out their positions with slogans and taglines. They really must first live their slogan. Here you can see the overall process of creating competitive and or differential advantage. 3 simple steps. Number 1, identifying a set of differentiations or competitive advantages, and this is primarily the goal of this video. Number 2, choosing the right competitive advantages to focus on perhaps and use in your marketing communications, and finally select an overall positioning strategy based on those advantages identified. The question now is, where should we look for in order to find those competitive or differential advantages? To give you a solid structure, I would strongly suggest that you look at traditional theory in marketing. There is no need to reinvent the wheel unless you would like to specifically do this. So you can consider some basic fundamentals in marketing, such as 4 P's: product, price, place, or promotion. Or you can consider 4 C's perspective, where instead of looking at the product, you consider customer needs, wants, desires. Instead of thinking of the price, you consider the overall cost for the customer. Instead of thinking of the place, you consider convenience in shopping. Instead of looking at the promotion, you think about communication, how we communicate to customers. So these are the areas you can consider because they are deemed to be important for customers. This is the basis of marketing. Okay, that's all what marketing covers. You can also consider 7 P's, in particular relevant more to the services companies, where we add additional 3 P's, such as people, process, and physical evidence. So other than 4 P's or 7 P's, which are classic or traditional theories in marketing, you can consider experiences in general. What feeling, emotional connection that we leave with the customers when they engage with us. You can consider differentiation through image, which is concerning more branding decisions. So now let's put it all into action. As I said in this video, one of the ways to create competitive advantage is to structure them by the 4 P's. So Joba Ellis Hadwick has done a great job, and in their latest textbook, which is published in 2024, the 10th edition, they suggested this table, which I found quite interesting and useful actually. So they tell us how to create a differential advantage using the marketing mix, 4 P's, and their potential impact on customer value. So they explain, in other words, why would these things be successful. So you can see they're structured by 4 P's: product, price, place, promotion, product price, well, distribution we call place. Anyway, it's the same thing. So if you look at the product, they say there are several areas you can think of. You can think of performance. You can do something about performance in order to perhaps lower the cost for customers, provide more safety, more pleasure, more status. You can do something about durability to extend the value for customers would be extended life, lower costs, and so forth. You can do something about technical assistance. For example, the value would be better quality products, closer supplier-buyer relationships, like Apple have Genius Bar. So it also gives this reassurance and safety net, because you can always go back there and you will get things done. You can look at the distribution, for example, location. So making your product available perhaps in different locations, which creates convenience for customers. You can think of the promotion, where you maybe offer something like free demonstrations to lower the risk of purchase. You can think of the price, for example, offering credit facilities, which would lower the costs and also would allow customers to get particular item now. So I'm not going into detail through each of them, but you get the idea. You can differentiate through the four elements, and there are different advantages for you to consider, and also think about the value you create to the customers, because ultimately it's all about the customers. Now we would look at the extended view, where we will cover 7 P's, also experiences and image. Perhaps the most important slide of this video would be this one: how to create value differences and competitive advantages using 7 P's and more. So how to find points of differentiations? Well, marketeers must think through a customer's entire experience with the company's product. We can differentiate through the following: 7 P's, also experiences, image, and you can think of anything else. And you can leave the comment down below. So, product differentiation. Brands can be differentiated on features, performance, style, design, and many other things, as we also seen from the table I've just showed you. For example, Bose positions its speakers on the striking design. Ecover tries to differentiate itself by being greener. A Belgium-based company that manufactures ecologically sound cleaning products, although they were acquired by Procter & Gamble, so they have a little bit of a challenge in order to deal with the perceptions and convince the more natural segment that they are still as clean as they were before, if you like. Now, price. Primark, Poundland are prime examples of the companies that try to offer lower price. They don't necessarily claim to offer any better quality, but they try to claim that it's just as good quality, just lower prices. You can also differentiate through the place. For example, Amazon offers online delivery, and you can get also quite quick, speedy delivery. So Amazon will be also a part of another element, which is process. Coca-Cola is another example. You might, you struggle probably to find a place where Coca-Cola is not available. So in that sense, they created convenience for customers because they can purchase it anywhere. Now, the other point would be promotion. For example, Head and Shoulders, right? It's hard to think of never seeing advertising by Head and Shoulders. We kind of grew up with this, and it's always in our face. There are many other brands, Kellogg's, Colgate, and so forth, that constantly engage with promotion. But there are also separate theories, which I will probably record later on, in terms of how many times consumers need to see particular ad to consider buying it, and the process, kind of like mentally what we go through and how we think about particular brands each time we see advertising. You can also see Coca-Cola. If you decide to leave your house in a given day, I bet you can't escape Coca-Cola's advertising. And if you haven't seen it, it's probably because you didn't notice. So Coca-Cola is just in our face everywhere. So is McDonald's. Now, you can also differentiate through people. For example, hiring and training better people than competitors do. In its all global locations, Disney World people are known to be friendly and upbeat. Virgin Atlantic is another brand where you will probably come across very friendly, enthusiastic, and energetic people. Waitrose and partners here in the UK, they offer superb customer service, and you would also notice that people make a great difference. They also have an interesting business model where each person working for Join Lewis partnership, which Waitrose is a part of, they get kind of like a share in the company, and they all kind of become a shareholder. So it almost makes them care about the work as much as having their own business. So being known to be, it's known to be like a very effective business model, makes people feel a lot better about the workplace, and also they give away all that good energy to the customers they serve. Now, you can also differentiate through process, right? So it can be speedy, convenient, careful delivery, and so forth. For example, Apple differentiates themselves through the process. They have a Genius Bar, technical assistant. You can book it quite easily. You can cancel very easily. There are so many locations you can go to. So basically, the process is quite convenient. You can also consider Metrobank as an example. They open their branches in the UK 7 days a week, which is different to other brands. And they also offer you many other things. For example, if you wanted to open bank account, you're likely to open the same day. If you wanted to get your card renewed or new card done, they will print you there in the office, which takes probably around 5 minutes, which is different to others. You can also think about the Waitrose, right? Which would be similar. So like the process. It's interesting, like my personal perhaps example. So we shop from Waitrose for our grocery shopping, and if there is any problem ever, you can very easily contact them by email. They will respond to you very quickly, and there is no problem. You don't have to fill in any particular forms or so forth. You just contact them, and if there is a problem, they will apologize, they will refund or find other way to deal with the issue. And now we recently ordered groceries from Sainsbury's, which is interesting, and I could compare two processes. So for example, with Sainsbury's, I got a pack of avocados. 3 out of 4 avocados were no good. They were too soft. They were mashed. Maybe they were kind of damaged. And when I tried to find a way to contact them, that was very hard, because email I sent, so they say, well, it's no reply, you can't send here. So you have to go through the website, click many times, many buttons, until you find a particular form you have to fill in, giving them all instruction. It's like if you've ever tried to claim a refund for the ticket because your flight was heavily delayed. So that just seemed something like that, and it seemed like a lot of process for £2. So this is just an example. So process involves how convenient the process is, how quickly people can get what they want. Physical evidence. Now, many shops try to differentiate for physical evidence, because the whole point is like when customers buy services, it's like a black box thing. So customers feel uneasy, unsure. They're not quite sure whether to do it. So companies try to create this physical evidence environment, which kind of sends clues to the customers about the quality. If they find the environment to be clean and beautiful and all of that, that kind of on perhaps subconscious level convinces that there must be something good about that company. So Lush, other than engaging with experiences, they take a great care in terms of how the shops look like, in terms of like image and colors, cleanliness, and so forth. But there are also many other shops, such as flagship stores. The definition of flagship store is actually it's the most important store in a chain, often with the largest volume of sales or the most up-to-date format and layouts. And it's usually that the opening of a flagship store marks the first development of retail store portfolio, for example, in luxury fashion retailers' most important foreign markets. So if you go to Burberry store in London, you will see how beautiful it all is. It's like almost entering the theatre. But so are car dealerships, BMW, Mercedes, and all of that. You can also find this physical evidence in many restaurants, now even banks using that. So it sends more clues to the customers about quality of the service. Now, as I said, you can differentiate from more things, not just 7Ps. So you can differentiate through experiences. For example, Disney offer like something to your kind of like for your soul, to entertain your mind, relax you, and so forth, through movies, through Disney toys, and also Disney parks and so forth. But Coca-Cola is another brand that works quite a lot on providing good experiences. So Coca-Cola will always, as you know, like in the positioning, they very much emphasize happy moments. So you drink Coca-Cola to be happy, or maybe you are happy, that's why I drink Coca-Cola. I never know which way around is this. But anyway, they do want to emphasize experiences, and they would do things like they would always create shows or something interesting event, or like something to capture people's attention. Like once they put names on Coca-Cola bottles so people collect it. My husband, for example, still has his Coca-Cola bottle from many years ago when he found with his name. You can see like some other places, vending machines, they would do like some fun activities. They will put a man behind the vending machine, and when people put, say, £1 or $1 to get a Coca-Cola, they would give them two. Then pizza suddenly comes out, then something else comes out, and so forth. Then we capture those moments with video and put them on YouTube to create more buzz. Lush is another store to create experiences, because experiences really trigger like 5 different senses, which we'll talk about later, such as taste, smell, touch, feel, and one more. So in Lush, you go to the store and you can see, you can touch all the products. They smell beautiful. It also triggers your sight. That was sight, the other one, experience, was something you can see, and then it allows to engage with all senses. And image differentiation, so not just luxury brands, but also simple convenience products like Coca-Cola. They do emphasize the image. Coca-Cola is not built on any performance-related associations. It's more about happy moments, symbolic meaning. So in that sense, they're similar to luxury brands because we advertise with abstract symbolic meanings. So is Nike with what they do, and also with their symbols they used and so forth. Porsche is another brand which built successfully the brand based on the image, kind of who drives Porsche, how it makes you feel, and so forth. So in a way, like kind of like owning a Porsche is proving yourself and others you are successful at what you do and all of that. David Beckham also, what he does, he helps promote H&M, for example, brand, right, underwear and all of that. So these are examples of image differentiation. Hope you found it useful. If you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you will always receive any updated videos I release. Thanks again for watching.